I do is punt.
Best offensive player and their best defensive player.
Okay. Righto, welcome to the Outback to Endzone podcast. Here with Adam and Jamie. Jamie, another busy few days of free agency.
Mate, what a week. It's hard to keep track of, isn't it? It feels like, I don't know, it feels like it's been a bit quiet the last few days, but if you look back at everything that's happened, the league's completely changed. So, yeah, nuts to say the least.
It's crazy just the NFL offseason. We've spoken about it a few times about how it's a 365-day-a-year event, the NFL, and it's completely true because it has just been hectic the last week, hasn't it?
Mate, so crazy. You've gone from like teams like the Titans and Raiders. They've almost got a completely new roster, so you can't help but feel excited for those fans. But, I guess it all doesn't matter till you start playing, so we'll be interested to see.
That's why it is such a good time of the year, because every team literally thinks we can make a run at it now. We've got this guy, we've got that guy, we've got this guy. It's the excitement of the season. It gets to about week 6, and as a Browns fan, our season's cooked. So during the off season, you can go, oh, this bloke's going to do this bloke's going to do this, and it can build genuine excitement. But we'll start with your Colts. They've been super busy the last few days. What are your thoughts on all their moves?
Yeah, well, busy trying to not let people leave, I think, has been how we're going, and busy trying to clear up space. So you are right in the sense we obviously re-signed Daniel Jones to a 2-year, $88 million deal. I don't love it. I like it. It's a 2-year deal, not a 5-year deal. So it's almost a bit of a prove it in the sense that if he doesn't make it work the next 2 years, then we'll be probably starting again at quarterback. The question is just coming off those injuries, coming off the broken leg and Achilles. I think one on each leg. So, yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical paying up that much a quarterback for a guy that has only proved it for half a season. But at the same time, he did gel really well with the team. He was freaking awesome for our culture. And that's probably the best the Colts have looked in that first half of the season that we've looked since probably Andrew Luck days. So we'll see how it goes. I don't love it, but at the same time, I don't hate it.
I saw a thing online the other day saying Daniel Jones is one of the best bag chasers in the history. I think Kirk Cousins might be the only one that's done it better, but he keeps just showing enough glimpses to get paid and get paid quite a bit. So good on him. He's made some more cash.
I just hope it doesn't end the same way it ended with the Giants. He got paid and then all of a sudden he was on the practice squad as like a backup safety or something. Yeah, I hope it goes a bit better than that. But I'm backing him in. I love Danny Dimes. I love what he brought. I'm hoping to see a bit more. But we have lost a fair few. We've lost Braden Smith, who has been our starting tackle for probably the last 4 or 5 years. He had some like strange injury. I don't know if you'd call it an injury, but he had to take leave because do you remember what it was called? He had like a
No.
it was a type of OCD. He had like a religious OCD where like he like was stuck in like praying and stuff like that. So he genuinely had to stop playing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, something completely different. You feel for him because I'm like, that would be debilitating to live with that.
Bizarre.
Yeah. He played last year, played solid, wasn't playing up to probably what his contract was worth, but he's gone and signed with the Texans. You got to love when they sign with a division rival.
Yeah, it's a real kick in the guts, isn't it?
Yeah, so in terms of what we're going to do to replace him, not too sure. We've got a few young boys coming through that might step up, but it's always a bit risky with your O-line. Like, you got 1 or 2 people that sort of aren't up to par, and then your whole offense can fall apart because of that. So a little bit worried what's going on there. We had Nick Cross, who was probably one of my favourite young players coming through the Colts. Guy I absolutely loved. He's really young. He's 24, coming into his 4th season. Just a gun safety, tackles hard, explosive, just what you love to see at the safety position. He's gone and signed with the Washington Commanders. So yeah, I'm a bit spewing about that loss, mate.
Yeah, it seems like you've been fleeced a bit. Like we said the other day with the Jaguars, they've been down for a few years, show a few glimpses, and then they lose a heap of players, and it sort of sounds like your Colts are in a similar situation.
Well, yeah, it's always going to happen when you pay a wide receiver the most ever wide receivers ever been paid through free agency, and you re-sign a quarterback to a 2-year, $88 million deal. Like, there's going to have to be sacrifices. And look, I'm pretty grateful that we've brought back Alec Pierce and we've got Daniel Jones to run it back. I think that is the cornerstone of our offense. But yeah, you hate to see like good pieces get moved on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what else has been happening in the league, mate?
Probably like the biggest news, I reckon, was the Trey Hendrickson signing with the Ravens.
It was crazy. We left our last episode talking about how it was Trey Hendrickson or bust for the Ravens now, and they got it done. They ended up getting him through. Is he as good an edge as Max Crosby, do you think? Or have they still made a bit of a downgrade, even though they've kept those 2 first-round picks? What do you think on that?
I think Max is better because of his run defense. I've seen a lot of film coming out recently of Trey Hendrickson. And just,
Me too.
Yeah.
It's been everywhere, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's just given up on plays, just playing for the sacks. In saying that, I think that is a little bit exaggerated. I think Trey Hendrickson, like, it's pretty easy to pull a full 5 seasons of film and find a few plays where someone's given up on a run play. Like, you could probably do the same for Max Crosby, if we're being honest. But the rumor has it that the Ravens were genuinely trying to get both of them. They were trying to make both work. I'm like, can you imagine that?
Would have ruined games.
Imagine Shador Sanders on the center and he's got Hendrickson on one side and Crosby on the other.
It's crazy too. Like, it's the whole situation is still bizarre. Like,
Yeah.
his knee. It's just hard for me as a thing. I just cannot believe it. You cannot tell me differently that the Ravens honestly thought that, oh well, his knee is that bad that we can't trade for him. I definitely think that they signed Linderbaum. The Ravens got sad about it. Then they thought, shit, we'll just pull the trigger. We're pulling out of this trade. How can we pull out of it? Because it's just too fishy for me that all of a sudden you lose your number one player in free agency for the Ravens, Tyler Linderbaum. He goes to the team that you're trading Max Crosby for, and then it's just all of a sudden, oh no, now we don't want to do the deal.
Summing up about it, I agree. I think they might have realised that they could probably only sign one. And all of a sudden they're going, all right, well, we had to prioritise one. Who are we going to take, Hendrickson or Crosby? Probably the guy that's not injured. Bit of a fail safe.
And doesn't cost 2 first-round picks too, probably.
Doesn't cost you any. Yeah, it doesn't cost you any picks. So I don't know. I think maybe something's happened there, and they've used the injury as an excuse. There's no doubt about it. And it's not the first time the Raiders have been a bit fishy and been a bit dodgy around sort of some trades and whatnot.
The Ravens, yeah, they're fucking dirty rat birds, they are. Dirty rat birds. But the other big one was Kyler. He signed at the Minnesota Vikings. Pretty cool story. Like, he was a Minnesota fan growing up. Spoke in his introductory press conference about how he wore his heart on his sleeve as a Vikings fan. And it sort of spells some really interesting offseason for the Vikings, for JJ McCarthy, for Kyler Murray, for KOC, the coach, because one thing this might be a little bit of a hot take, but KOC has been given this rap of this quarterback whisperer, this absolute offensive genius, one of the best coaches in the leagues. Yet the last 12 months, it sort of hasn't worked. And Sam Darnold is now Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion. So did he really resurrect his career, or was it Kyle Shanahan? Was Darnold just ready to be a starting quarterback and Kevin O'Connell's getting the credit for it? This Kyler Murray experience is going to be huge for, I think, Kevin O'Connell's coaching sort of outlook, because he wasn't successful with JJ McCarthy. You've got to think he was a big reason why they drafted JJ McCarthy. So if that turns into be a failed pick, he has to cop some form of blame for that. And now he's got Kyler Murray, and it's the resurrection project, yes, but I think there's got to be a little bit of questioning on whether KOC is that A-grade echelon offensive mind, offensive coach, like everyone has been saying he has been for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree to disagree on that one there, mate. I'm sick of hearing this. I think it's such bullshit. Vikings had one bad year. The only part where I think they've gone about it wrong is JJ McCarthy had way too much hype around him. And they had that leading to his first season when they were injured. They were always talking about, oh, here's our guy. Like, he'll be starting next year. We have to move on from Darnold. He
But
hadn't proved.
is that because of KOC and how much of a genius he is and he's his guy, or is that just because JJ isn't the
I
man?
th- I think that's outside noise. At the end of the day, they lost Darnold, and like, oh, man, they should have re-signed Darnold. There's no it's a no-brainer about that one. But the quarterback picks fail all the time, but also young quarterbacks need 2 or 3 years. Literally, look at Sam Darnold. Like, McCarthy played most of the season last year, and he was terrible. There's no doubt about it. But that's not saying he's a write-off. Like, he could come out this year and beat Kyler Murray for the number one QB spot, and all of a sudden we'll be talking about how bloody good Kevin O'Connell is again. You know what I mean? Or Kyler Murray can come in and be a star, and we'll be talking about how good Kevin O'Connell is. I think it's really harsh putting in one bad year with one quarterback and writing off writing off a coach to say he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm certainly not writing him off. I just feel like if you speak to any NFL person, it's like, oh, he's a top 5 coach and he's one of the best offensive minds in football. And it's like, well, okay, yes, but he got that credit because of Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold's just gone and won a Super Bowl. So are we going to give him any credit? And then his second year, I guess, as a quarterback, they chose to keep JJ over keeping Sam Darnold, which they could have done the other way around. And you can't tell me that they couldn't have fished a first-round pick from another team for JJ McCarthy last offseason. Like, there was plenty of teams would have been. My Browns, I could tell you now for free, would have been banging the door down to get JJ McCarthy in the door, a young prospect, top 10 draft pick. So they chose to go that route, and then the season isn't out, went poorly. So I just look at this next 12 months for KOC as an actual coach to find out whether he is a top 5 echelon. If he can turn Kyler or JJ into that superstar and into that offensive juggernaut that he had with Sam Darnold, great. But if he can't, I think we need to start questioning whether he is the genius that he got given the credit for, or whether it was just Sam Darnold was ready to play.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. There's no doubt he needs to prove he's a top 5. I think that goes without saying. I do agree with that. But do you remember what he did with Joshua Dobbs?
Yeah, he pulled him off the street and but even that though, like the Josh Dobbs one, it lasted like 1 or 2 weeks, and then he went back to being the Josh Dobbs we know. So yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from, but I just feel like a lot of people talk about how good he is as a coach, and I'm not here trying to say, oh, no, he sucks, but last year wasn't great, and they still had the same team from 12 months earlier. The only difference was quarterback. Yes, JJ sucked, but he got told how good he was. He was the reason Sam Darnold was a good quarterback, when I think now looking at it another 12 months down the track, Sam Darnold's just a good quarterback. Like, that's just it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think Sam Darnold is a star, and like the question is that we won't be able to work it out, but how much of that sort of came from, I guess, Kevin O'Connell's coaching? Like, what did he bring out of him? Because that was his breakout year. He broke out at the Viking. That's when we all started saying, oh, Sam Darnold is legit. Where he's gone from someone who's been an absolute battler to someone that we're like, oh, he's a genuine starting quarterback. Obviously, he's taken another step again at Seahawks. So, yeah, it's impossible to measure. I guess the only other way we can talk about was Carson Wentz definitely wasn't spectacular.
No, exactly.
So, but I don't know. I've watched plenty of Carson Wentz play football, and I don't know. It doesn't matter how good. Kevin O'Connell can come coach me to throw the football. I'm still throwing 30 picks in a season. I can promise you that.
For sure. What other big news have we had in the last few days?
I guess a few others we haven't touched on yet was Elijah Vera Tucker signed that 3-year, $42 million deal with the Pats. That's a huge get, especially if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, he definitely had prospects coming out of the draft. Like, he was I think he's like pick 14 or something. He was a top 20 pick, and he had that, like, that's the safe as houses pick. He's going to lock down your offensive line. Like, he was a top 5 prospect in the league and in that draft. And it hasn't worked out, not because of his ability, but it's been his availability. And I guess your number one form of ability is availability. So hopefully for the Patriots, who, as Bronco Benny said last week, they need to fix that offensive line. And hopefully for them, he can stay healthy and shore up that interior.
100%. That's definitely one Bronco was big on, wasn't he?
Too much pressure on poor Drake May in that Super Bowl for Bronco.
Yeah. No, I do like it. I like the signing. I like it. And then Kevin Byard as well, they signed.
Yeah, which is that safety depth. And the Patriots have had their whole team sort of fleeced a little bit. So at least there's to bring a few pieces in to help that Super Bowl losing roster. That sort of wraps up, I guess, the free agency the last couple of days. There's still plenty of top targets still available, which we might go through on a later date podcast of who is still available and what are some sort of needs, some teams' needs going in for the rest of free agency. But we've got 3 more fans to call in and give us their takes on what they wanted their teams to do this offseason. So first of all, let's head to big Miami Dolphins fan, friend of the program, Damon Simpkin, as he gives us his takes on what the Finns should do.
This should be interesting. We know Damo loves a trade. We're in a few fantasy leagues with him, and I get about 38 offers a week now, Damo, so I'm very much looking forward to this one.
G'day guys, my name's Damon Simpkin. Tui and Jamie have asked me to come on here today and talk about the Dolphins and their seasons are coming up. So thanks for the guys for having me on, really appreciate it and love what they're doing. How did I become a Miami Dolphins fan? Well, it's pretty stupid, it's not very exciting either. Just watching The Simpsons back in the day and seeing Dan Marino on there throwing a Bart. And then just a mix between that and just liking their colours and their logo. Nothing really exciting, but yeah, no, I've stuck with them for probably over 20 years now, and yeah, hasn't been too exciting. What do we expect from the draft coming up? Well, I think we have pick 11. This morning I would have said a QB was their number one goal, but now we've signed Malik Willis, which is a move I don't hate because I think he has good arm strength and he's pretty mobile, which Tua hasn't been the last 2 years. So, yeah, look, I'm happy to give him a go, and I think Ewers isn't a bad backup anyway. So between the two, I'm sure one of them can win us a couple of games, hopefully. But yeah, I think just with what I want us to do in this draft is just to take the best available. I don't care what side of the ball it is, really. We just need a player that we can build around. Dream free agent signing for this off-season, well, there's not really much we can do now. We've taken a massive hit with Tua. So, look, just like a Rashid Shaheed, something like that, like just another wide receiver, deep ball threat, because let's face it, we're going to be playing from behind every game this year. So, yeah, just someone to help Waddle out. He's, as much as I love Waddle, he's not the most durable player going around. So, yeah, just another... Shaheed's not either, but someone can just offer that deep ball threat now that Tyreek's gone. Lesser known free agent or trade thing. This is a bit of a left field one, but if Darren Waller doesn't come back this year, which I don't think he will, I will be looking at Michael Mayer, the backup tight end at the Raiders. I really, really love what he did when Brock Bowers went out. Yeah, a bit of a left field one, but I'm sure if they threw enough at him, they'd let him go. Like, it's not like they need him with Bowers. So, selfishly, he won me a fantasy chip this year in the last couple of rounds. So, yeah, pretty biased there. And what else we got? And one move I'd be disappointed to see us make this year is probably, like obviously I said before, I just don't want us to trade Jalen Waddle. He's between him and A-Chain, they're probably the only two that are worth watching at the minute. Like, they're the only ones keeping us in games. So, yeah, just build around them. Give us something offensively that we can try and build. Like, defensively, we're terrible, and we always give away penalties at the crucial moments, which is our biggest killer. But, yeah, just keep him, and I think, yeah, they just need to really knuckle down and get these couple, 3, 4 picks, whatever it is this season, just get them right. I mean, it's easier said than done, I know, but this franchise is probably done for the next couple of seasons at least. So yeah, just keep us somewhat interested, and make sure in 3-5 years time when we're actually relevant again, we might be thereabouts. All right, good on you guys. Support the channel. Thanks. Cheers.
There we have Damo. He's as passionate as ever about his Miami Dolphins. What are your thoughts on his takes, James?
Yeah, well, Dolphins haven't won a Super Bowl since 1974, and poor old Dame doesn't seem like he's got too much hope to see another one on the horizon, does he?
He's fairly dejected, that's for sure. But he is right with the draft. I think their team needs a lot of help. And when you're paying a guy $100 million to not be there, as he said, there's a lot of holes and not a lot of money to address those holes. He seems happy with the Malik Willis, and we haven't dove into it too much, I guess, but Malik Willis has got that just raw talent. And as you said the day he got signed, Jeff Hafley has been at the Green Bay Packers where he's been playing, would have seen a lot of him. So yeah, I think it's worth a shot. And as Damo said there, the Dolphins aren't going to be a Super Bowl team for the next couple of years. So I think if they can find the quarterback in Malik Willis, great. Build around him in this year's draft, in next year's draft, and then if it doesn't work in 2 or 3 years' time, you address the quarterback again. But what are your thoughts on the Malik Willis signing?
Oh, he was an elite signing. I think it's going to be so good. Like, in the patches that we've seen him, he's accurate, he's athletic, he's mobile in the pocket. He deserves to be a starting quarterback in this league. If he wasn't playing behind Jordan Love, then we would have seen a lot more of him already, I believe. Like, he's the sort of guy I'm like, if we had him on the Colts, he was a whole lot better than Anthony Richardson was the year before. And ultimately, where was he drafted again? He was a reasonably high pick.
Tennessee. He was a 3rd round pick to Tennessee.
He was a 3rd rounder, so like it's not like someone they've picked up in the 6th or 7th round. Like, he's shown enough talent to get drafted early. I think this is a great signing by the Dolphins, and he's gone to a team that I think will appreciate him and actually use him to his strengths.
Yeah, for sure. And as Dame said, and I can agree and understand exactly what he's saying with the fact that he wants to keep Jalen Waddle, because as a Browns fan, it was the same for me last offseason when the Myles Garrett trade rumours come out, because it's hard enough waking up early in the morning to watch your team suck. But if you take the best players off that team, it makes it even harder. So I think for his sake, I hope they keep Jalen Waddle, because if they ship him off too, you might lose an Aussie Dolphins fan for a bit of the season next year.
Yeah, I get you. The one I liked the most from Dame, I think this was some seriously smart GMing, was the Michael Mayer.
Yeah, definitely. It's as he said. As we said before, he spoke. He loves his NFL fantasy. Sends out 100 trades a week, and Michael Mayer. Yeah, and Michael did win him a playoff game, and he did win our fantasy league this year. So I like it, especially if Darren Waller doesn't re-sign, which is probably likely. Like, what's the point of Darren Waller going around at the Miami Dolphins next year, even though he had a pretty good season when he was available? But you don't have him. You need to find a person in the tight end room, and a guy who is a backup at another side, given that full number one potential up. Yeah, it's good GMing.
He's young. He's 24 years old. He was taken at pick 35 in 2013. So high talent. I think he was the number 1 tight end drafted in that draft. So there's talent there. He's proven it last year in small glimpses. He's great at blocking as well, which is what you want with Achane. So I think just go get the guy, whether you keep Waller or not. I think just go get him.
Yeah, it's probably, looking at it from a Raiders point of view, they're probably thinking, well, let's play a lot of 12 personnel. Let's put out both Brock Bowers and Mayer on the field with Fernando Mendoza, Ashton Genty. Let's really run the ball. The new head coach has come from the Seattle Seahawks, so play that similar ground and then with a bit of play action. So he might be too hard to get out of Las Vegas, which is what I'm probably trying to say, but I like the way he's thinking for sure.
Yeah, I think the Raiders might have some cap issues in the upcoming years, so you might be able to find it's more doable than not. Probably not this year, but maybe in the next couple of years. I don't mind it. I like it.
The amount of money they've spent this offseason and then didn't lose Max Crosby to that contract, yeah, it's going to take some good working out over the next few years, that's for sure.
Good accountants, that's for sure.
Not me and you. As we'll head on to the next one, we'll go to another American doing an amazing challenge. Devon from Kelsey to Pampeluna is trying to do a challenge to get Jason Kelsey on the streets of Pampeluna to run the Bulls. And he's a mad Chicago Bears fan, lives in KC. So we've got him to talk about his beloved Chicago Bears.
Get around this bloke. He's drinking a frothy every day just to get Kelsey out there. So he's a legend. Everyone's going to love his content.
What's up, everybody? My name is Devin Douglas from the Kansas City area. I am a huge Chicago Bears fan. At 9 years old in 1985, the Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl. They were everywhere with Walter Payton, the punky QB Jim McMahon, and Ditka. But I was a big kid, and I loved William the Refrigerator Perry. So jumped on that bandwagon in 85. Been there ever since, suffering for 40 years. But we have our QB now in Caleb, and things are looking up. The top positions that I feel the Chicago Bears need to address this offseason. One is the linebacker. We just released Tremaine Edmonds, and that position's going to need to be filled. D-tackle, have a couple young guys that are promising, but that position depth is always needed. Drew Dowman retired at 27 years old, so a center is also needed to finish up that line that much improved this last season. Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker may not return, so safety's going to have to be addressed. I wouldn't mind seeing both those guys re-signed myself. And then a D-end. I wanted to trade for Max Crosby, but I'm glad we didn't give up 2 picks like the Baltimore Ravens did. And that takes me into my top free agent signings that I'd like to see. Trey Hendrickson on the other side of Montez Sweat would make our defensive line look a lot better. So that's one that I'd love to sign. And then, like I said, Drew Dowman retired. We need a center. Tyler Lindenbaum from the Baltimore Ravens is out there. I'd love to see the Bears sign him because D-line and O-line needs to be addressed. A lesser-known guy, John Franklin Myers, played the Denver Broncos last year, free agent, D-tackle. Like I said, depth at that position would help quite a bit for us. And last, your question was, what was one thing you'd be disappointed if your team did? I'm going to switch it up because me and my fiance are season ticket holders for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the one thing I'd be disappointed of is not seeing Travis Kelce be re-signed at the Kansas City Chiefs for one more year to make a run with Mahomes, as long as it doesn't go through Chicago. I'd be disappointed not to see one more good year from Travis. And then I'd be disappointed not to see his brother run the Bulls with me in Pamplona, Spain. Thanks, guys.
Well, we'll start with his KC take. He'll be happy that Travis is back in KC. As he said, season ticket holders gets to see Travis running around again for 12 more months, so he'll be happy there. And then I guess it's O-line, D-line was what he was looking at. And although the names that he mentioned haven't been addressed, a few of them have been, or a few players have been addressed on those O-lines and D-lines, Jamie. So I guess we'll start with the O-line. I'll go first. They've recently just signed Jedrick Wills, former first-round pick out of the Browns. I think he was pick 10. Tackle, he was a right tackle out of Alabama, then went to left for the Browns, and I'm not going to lie, he stunk, and he had zero interest in trying to improve, was all the reports around Cleveland. Last year, he had 12 months off to get his body right, so I hope he's still young, he's still got plenty of potential and talent, but yeah, he wasn't a very good first-round pick for the Browns, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was a bust, wasn't he?
The definition of it.
Addressed a fair bit of depth on the O-line, which is good to see. So they brought in Braxton Jones, Jordan McFadden, both on 1 year's deal. They only wanted to sign Linderbaum, but they've gone out and traded for Garrett Bradbury from the Patriots. And I think they got him pretty cheap. It was for like a 5th-round pick next year. So, look, they've addressed that O-line. That'll be good to see. In terms of the D-line, Devon was saying they need to get some help on the D-line. Haven't done too much yet. Neville Gallimore is probably one that stands out to me, signing a 2-year, $12 million contract. I actually really like this. He only played in little short spurts for the Colts last year, but made plays when he was on the field. He's a big unit. He's someone that can sort of rough up the line and make a few plays. So I think that's a good signing by the Bears.
The other one they got to replace Tremaine Edmonds was Devin Bush from the Browns. And Devin Bush, again, first-round pick at the Steelers, bounced around a little bit. Then last year, his impact at Cleveland was huge. He was unbelievable. Personally, I was annoyed and upset that we lost him, but I think he's a really good replacement. Young, fast, athletic, a really good linebacker. So they paid him like a really good linebacker, which he deserved. So there's your replacement for Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah, I do like that Bush signing. Another signing I really like is Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. 3 years, $40 million deal. I think he's electric. I love this bloke. I think he's awesome.
And they have lost those few guys like Kevin Byard out of their secondary. So, yeah, to address someone like that in your secondary, younger version, yeah, they're going to look a little bit different, but the whole offseason so far has been a pretty successful one, I could say.
Yeah, for sure. And as you said, getting younger. Kevin Byard, he would have been in his 30s, wouldn't he?
Yeah, mid, I'd reckon, yeah.
Yeah, very mid. And then, yeah, Kobe Bryant's 26 years old. So young, coming off a Super Bowl winning team. Get him in there. Absolutely love that for the Bears and Devon.
For sure, for sure. So to finish, we've got Ben from Endzone near you across the pond in Britain as he talks about his New York Football Giants.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm one half of Endzone near you, and I'm a fan of the New York Football Giants. I support them thanks to my friends in New York and New Jersey, and it was either them or the Jets, and I think I made the right choice so far, but I saw the Giants play at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and after that, my choice was easy. This year, I think in the draft and free agency, we need to sign a wide receiver, cornerback, and if we can improve our O-line, that would be great. I'm looking at Carnell Tate or Caleb Downs from Ohio State. I would love the Giants to sign Tyler Linderbaum from the Ravens. He has experience in the league. He's worked with John Harbaugh before, and for me, he's a top 5 center in the league, and he would really improve this team. Another underrated one, maybe unrealistic, but Mike Evans or another veteran receiver like Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel even maybe. But I just think they would help Jackson Dart so much. They'd be a leader for other people in the locker room, alongside Neighbours and potentially Tate. And with those two, and another one, they will definitely have one of the best receiving rooms in the NFL. That's a fact. An underrated signing would be Chidobe Awuzie from the Ravens. He's a cornerback. Once again, played with John Harbaugh before, and it seems like Cordell Flott might not be part of this defense. It would definitely be an interesting cheap starter for the Giants to pick up. I'd be disappointed if the Giants didn't re-sign Jermaine Illumina for the right price, of course, as I thought he had an excellent season. He only gave up 4 sacks and 19 pressures. And as a fellow Brit, I'd love to keep him, of course. I'd also love to see Wan'Dale Robinson re-signed. He really stepped up after Neighbours got injured this season. But if we were to take Carnell Tate with our 5th overall pick, I wouldn't be too upset, as the future is very exciting. Let me know what you think and follow Endzone near you on Instagram and TikTok. Let's go Giants.
Thanks to Ben, he's given his takes on the Giants. He didn't get any of the people correct, but the angles and areas they've sort of addressed in the free agency market. One person that we both really like is Isaiah Likely coming over from Baltimore with that link with John Harbaugh. I know you've been big on this one, Jamie, but what can Isaiah Likely bring to the New York Giants?
Oh, I think he's a genuine, could be a top 10 tight end in the league. I know that is a massive call, but like the small glimpses we've seen of him so far, explosive, quick, athletic, just goes up and makes plays. Yeah, I think that's going to really help Jackson Dart and this Giants offense get rolling.
I think that's more important too than adding you're never going to get a Mike Williams or one of them. It's like me as a Browns fan, like you can hope that you get a Mike Williams, but it's not going to happen unless that a free agent isn't going to walk into that situation unless you pay him overs. So getting an Isaiah Likely who's on the come up, who's explosive, gives you a real target through the middle of the field. Pair him with Malik Neighbours outside, and if they go receiver in Carnell Tate pick 5 in the draft, that's there. All of a sudden, there's some pretty good weapons to go in the backfield with Scatterboo when he comes back from injury. Your offense is starting to look like you've got plenty of pieces there. They lost Wandale Robinson to Tennessee, and he got a fairly good contract to head with Brian Daboll back down to Tennessee and shore up those receiving stops down there. So that's a bit of a loss for them. The other one they got was Tremaine Edmonds from the Chicago Bears. So that's a really big pickup for that defense.
100%. I think something you touched on is what they're going to do with that early draft pick as well. I think Caleb Downs is the way to go. He looks unbelievable. A few little questions about his knees and whether he's got some degenerative, I can't say it, whether his knees are failing him or not pretty early on. But I think go out, get a safety like that, and you don't look back. I don't really like going for Tate that early. I'm kind of against drafting a wide receiver that early. I think you can pick up some good receivers second, third round that, can sort of help bring that offense to pair with Neighbours.
I disagree with picking receivers early because you look at, like, if you could get a Jamar Chase, bang, sign me up for that. But I agree with you in the fact I don't think Carnell Tate is a Jamar Chase or even a JSN, like he went later in the first round. But I don't think this draft has one of them A++ receivers. So I do. The other one I heard Todd McShay talking about last night was Sonny Styles to pair with Tremaine Edmonds, and then you just have this dynamic duo at linebacker. That would be pretty scary for the Giants defense, and have John Harbaugh just go to work with them too.
I don't mind that. Linebacker's another of those positions, though. You don't have to invest that highly in it to get a serviceable player. So in saying that,
if a guy like him is just a freak of nature and better than anyone, best player in the draft.
Yeah, you can convince me otherwise on that. Yeah, that's for sure.
For sure. No, but it's interesting looking forward for the Giants. They've got, proper hope and optimism for the first time in a while, I think, because they've got the new coach. That's as big as any off-season signing, getting John Harbaugh across from the Ravens. So I've got a few Giants fans in my life, and I do think they're building in the right direction.
Yeah, they'll be exciting to watch next year. That's all you want. Like, watching Dart go out there and you've got Neighbours back, you've got Likely. Regardless of how many games they're going to win, they're going to be a watchable team, it's all you can ask for of me and you, obviously coming from that barracking for average teams category.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's a wrap. I've got to get out and watch me Bulldogs beat the Giants. Fingers crossed. So thanks for joining us again. Any words to finish up, Jamie?
Final words for today are see you around like a result.
See you around like a result.